A little conversation today with a good friend of ours who won 2 Flagstick Opens. Many people have gotten to know this guy. He's now a Team Canada member from Kingston, Ontario, Noah Steele. And how are you doing today, Noah?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, part of the reason why we're catching up with you today is that you've won a prestigious award. Not many people maybe are familiar with it. You've been named the Muscle Milk Athlete of the Year, which I think is incredible because I can't find any record of anybody that's a golfer that's ever won this. It's usually going to football players, basketball players, baseball players, volleyball athletes. You know, it's a national award. It's a prestigious award. What's it mean to you?
Super cool. I think for me, like you said, very few, if not any, golfers were recognized, with this award. And for me, the last couple years, I did things previously, I think to benefit my physical game and stuff like that from a training standpoint, but it wasn't necessarily the lifestyle and what I, led each day to get better. And, so it's cool to be recognized for something that's, become a really big part of my life. And then I began working with Susanna Whiteman from Sam Houston State, who's my dietitian, the beginning of September. And we sat down and talked about, a couple different things we were going to start with to progress and enhance my training and as well as my performance on the golf course. And it went from there. So it is really cool to be recognized for something that now is a big part of me and who I am and how I do things. And I didn't know about the award actually until she had mentioned it to me, and said, "Oh, I think that you would be a good candidate for this," and that kind of thing. Cause a lot of our conversations in the beginning surrounded the fact that, yeah, golf until more recent years with Rory and Stallings and all those guys, you're starting to see a shift in how their body was composed and how they went about things. It was, the exercise for golf was more golf. And, people just didn't maybe take care of themselves the way that they needed to last a long time golf wise. And I didn't, necessarily agree with that or want to fall into that. And that's really where it went from. And I think what, attracted them to my story with the award.
So the award really is focused a lot on nutrition as part of your overall fitness. How has nutrition helped you, especially in the last 2 years? Because obviously you've excelled, had 3 collegiate wins, you won the conference championship, made your way to Team Canada. I know you're smiling as a result of it because, a lot of hard work paid off with this, but how did you feel personally that it made a difference for you and how you were able to perform?
Yeah, so I think of course, with the amount of golf and the volume of training and stuff like that, I of course would eventually be very tired. And then I focused on the recovery side of things with sleep and stuff like that. But I felt like there was still something else missing, and the nutrition and the food side of things was really not something I knew a lot about. I logically thought, okay, well, we'll stay away from processed fast food stuff, and other than that, I'll just eat. And that worked. But some of the big changes I saw right off the get-go was we added in some stuff for like a pre-workout. So some simple carbs, hydration, and then for morning training, the coffee was part of that. And that's where my love of coffee began, really. And so right off the bat, I saw a huge change in my performance in the gym and what I got out of it. So I was able to have a much higher output, and on the mornings I didn't maybe feel, all bred out and bushy tailed to get out and train. I was able to replace that and kind of get going. And then afterwards, I needed to learn how to replenish what I just put out, because a lot of times prior to starting with Susanna, I would get up and what I had before training, depending on what time of day I was training. If I trained, after my classes, well, I would have had breakfast a couple hours prior. But we started to develop a routine, and my body responded really well to that. And then afterwards, replenishing with, the carbs and hydrating and protein as well to replenish what I had just put out. And then from there, we found that I worked at a huge deficit all the time. So I obviously have a high metabolism as a young athletic male. And then with the training that's boosted even more. So then it was like, okay, well, I need to eat more, but what do I eat? Like I found it difficult to get, the nutrient value out of food that I needed to get what I needed. So, so when I started working with her, I was soaking wet about 170 pounds, and now I walk around just under 185. So there's been a huge change that way, and there's a lot of fluctuation on the golf course. So another component for us was adding in proper snacking throughout rounds, and have some stuff that my body could feed off of and hold on to. And one of the coolest things was I had played a couple events, had done really well, and then we got to our last event of the fall, and and our last round, they switched the time that we were going to have our lunch because it was only an 18-hole day and not a 36. We were going to just eat afterwards. So I just planned to have a sandwich, between my 9-hole rounds and stuff like that. Well, that didn't happen because of what they changed, and I didn't have much food with me. So I think I went on like a streak of bogeying like 4 holes in a row and like was in a daze. It was hot. I had drank a bunch of water, and I felt like I was hydrated, but I just didn't have what I needed. And because part of that, I had been doing a good job and knew what it felt like to have energy. I felt like afterwards I could go work on stuff. I could go practice and still feel good, but I was shot. and, and so that, really I was like, wow, like, this is what I need to do and put a big focus in. So that's quite a long story, but that's really honestly, it has affected every area. And then even just every day, having an idea and matching output and intake has helped a lot.
So how did you find out about the award as far as winning it? Obviously, it's just being announced, just becoming public now. But were you shocked when you were given the award?
Yeah, I was. I got a phone call from Susanna, and I had come back home from school due to the current situation. And I honestly had forgot a little bit about it because she had mentioned it, and she had nominated me for it. But I hadn't thought anything else about it really, and I didn't know exactly when it was going to be released. So she called me. She was like, "Hey, so when I nominated you for she wrote a really great paper and whatnot to go along with the nomination." And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember." She's like, "Well, the CPSDA just called and you won." I'm like, "Wow, that's awesome." So, and then it just kind of went from there. So it was a cool moment for us because our friendship's grown a ton. And in a short time to get to where we are now has been really cool. And then it's even more reason to continue to move forward and see what we can get better at.
So what will this do for you now? I mean, this is going to provide a base for you within Team Canada. Obviously, you get a lot of support with Team Canada with a lot of different services, but can you blend that into the program that you're working on with Team Canada as well?
Yeah, I believe so. I think too, one thing I've learned a lot throughout this is that the area that you're in, as far as whether it be at home, at your own apartment, on the road, like those have all been different things to deal with. So thankfully, for both of our camps, I was working with Susanna. It was great. I got to communicate with her and say, "Hey, this is where we're eating. Like, what should I focus on? Or I had this kind of day. What should I do?" And so I've learned a lot about how to adapt. I think that's a huge, thing to grow in across everything. And even in competition is adapting to different conditions or situations. Well, same thing, conditions and situations within what you're eating and in your routine and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm very thankful that DI and Golf Canada make sure that we have what we need to eat, because our days are full days, and they do discuss the importance of fueling your body, staying hydrated, and resting properly, because those are a long, busy 5 days. So I think I can certainly incorporate that as much as possible with Team Canada.
Now, obviously, the year has changed a little bit from a schedule standpoint for you, from a competitive standpoint. But before we leave this now, I mean, how will your year look? Do you have any idea at this point? What are you going to be doing as far as events are concerned? And again, how will this knowledge that you've gained, especially from the nutrition side of it, help you out?
Yeah, so I think this time has I'm fairly patient, but has made me even more patient, I think. And Yeah, I'm just trying to do as many things well now as possible. I think it's a great time to sit back and reflect a little bit and see where you need to get better, but it's also a great time to get ahead. And that's really what I'm trying to do, because when things get busy, you know, you can still get training in, you can still, you know, make nutrition and stuff like that a focus, but you can really lay out a really good foundation, and something to build off of from this. And routine and consistency are huge. And especially, I was just talking to actually one of my teammates with the national team the other day, and I just said, you know, like whatever change you're going to make, like doing them one at a time, getting really good at one until you add something else in, you know, because it can get overwhelming. So I think, you know, even though I've got plenty of time, you know, doing one thing at a time, if I'm trying to work on something, being patient with that, you know, and kind of going from there. It's an opportunity to do that. And as far as competition goes, it's still up in the air. I'm starting to get a bit more of an idea of the time frame. I think, you know, competition may begin in the July area, and then hopefully maybe go on from there. I've just started back to playing outdoors as of a couple days ago. So yeah, just as things come along, you know, we'll hopefully get some tournaments in order and stuff like that, so that I can compete. Because you know, I was able to kind of put golf on the back burner a little bit, and then now I've played around and got back out and started to get back into it the last couple of days. I'm like, yeah, this is why I do this. This is great. So certainly getting the bug back to compete and work on things and whatnot. But you know, it goes to show like how much you need to take advantage of the time you do have to sit back. Because you know, if you're putting all you can into competition and training and being prepared, you probably should be tired at some point. So, or tired, maybe tired of it. And I think that's okay. You know, and something you need to accept. So this has been as much as it's been a crazy time and a crazy change, like from a world standpoint, I think it's been positive for me, and it's given me time to be back with family and whatnot, where I hadn't been in a while. So.
Well, congratulations, Noah. Winning a prestigious national award like this is certainly a feather in your cap, and maybe you know, sets a path as well for other golfers to follow in your footsteps. And also, as well, I know you're going to be graduating soon from Sam Houston State, so congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.